This is Dolynny TV, ladies and gentlemen. Are you ready for some hockey? And how about the Stanley Cup final in Edmonton this season? Yes, sir. No. I'm not kidding you, not in the least. Have you not followed up on the news today? Well, I've got all of that Bob McKenzie chainmail tweet for you to understand exactly what happened. But my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, the day we have been waiting for a long time has finally arrived. We've got all the confirmation in the world from absolutely everybody of the spectrum of hockey reporters telling us straight up it's an all-Canadian solution to the hub city problem in the NHL. And well, folks, that includes our precious hub, Edmonton, Alberta, the home of the Edmonton Oilers, who, like I've said this year a couple times since this whole March 12th thing, we're going to be lifting the cup. And we also got confirmation today coming from Bob McKenzie, which I'll read to you in a second, that Edmonton will be lifting the cup in Edmonton on Rogers Place ice for the first time in the history of the building in downtown Edmonton on 104th Ave. Woo! Yeah, like I said, we've been waiting for that for a long time. Not necessarily the cup lifting, but there's just the news that that's going to be happening for us because Edmonton is a hub city. The other hub city, Toronto, you already knew that. You kept up on the news yesterday. Oh, yes, you did. You have to Canada Day. Come on. Middle of the week, what kind of shenanigans could you get up to? You didn't get up to anything, did you? I didn't. I sat by a campfire and my entire room smells like campfire smoke now. So, I mean, that's my shenanigans. I don't know about you. However, let's get to the news, shall we? Let's stop getting all excited about this off the rails and such. And let's fire it up. Bob McKenzie today, the tweet. With Edmonton and Toronto being chosen as the two NHL hub cities, the question most often asked now is, which of the two will play host to the Stanley Cup final and conference finals? And like I said, I didn't lie in the intro. The answer apparently is Edmonton. Oh my goodness. Let me just kind of get you some Bob Stauffer information here. He's been tweeting it out, but just let me get COVID cases in Alberta, shall I? Let me see if I can find that there. So far we've had a total of, oh my goodness, that's Canada. Wow, okay, they really could dial this down, don't they? Oh my goodness, I have never actually Googled the information on COVID-19 in Alberta, but what you need to know is we've had a total of 8,202 cases of COVID-19 since this whole thing hit for the first time in Alberta, and that was months ago at this point. So what you need to know here is, straight up active cases in Alberta, 542. There's 233 active cases in the Edmonton zone. Big whoop-de-doo, no big issue. That is safe enough compared to what the other options on the table were. And statistically speaking, there's been 15 deaths in the Alberta zone. I mean, I don't want to celebrate 15 being a good number because that is absolutely tragic. But by comparison, ladies and gentlemen, those are numbers to be proud of within our own borders here in Alberta. And secondary to that, the folks still battling this right now as of today, 17 in hospital, 3 in intensive care. Hoping all the best for them, but at the same rate, guys, those are numbers. Those are numbers that pretty much nowhere else in the world that's been hard hit by this thing can even talk about. So that is something for us to pat us on the back. And of course, that is why we are a hub city, no doubt about it. And secondarily to that, Alberta, you know those mountains that are just 10 feet outside Edmonton? Had to get that in there. If you're tuning in and you're more of just an NHL fan or a non-Oilers fan, I had to get that in there. I haven't mentioned that. And of course, that's what you were talking about for last week. So why not talk about it? All right. Answer is Stanley Cup final, conference final in Alberta. Now let's get to this. This is the chain of the tweet I was talking about that we just saw on my screen. So let's get to this Bob McKenzie playing this out. I'm guessing the rationale for that decision is simply based on public health safety numbers. All right, whatever the reasons, Edmonton, it will be. Okay, yep, already over that. Oh, forgot to stamp today's tweet with usual and necessary qualifier. It's 2020. Whatever is true may not be true in how many ever hours, days, weeks you choose. Well, fill in the word, I'm going to use crap here, happens at an astonishing rate these days. Probably a bad analogy to use for a fluid situation. Oh, Bob McKenzie. Bob McKenzie woke up and he knew exactly what he was putting in this chain of tweets today. He sat there and he probably called up Gene Principe last night and said, "Hey Gene, what do you got for me? I've got a fluid situation and things change very quickly when news breaks nowadays. What do you got?" And Gene probably sat there and told him, "Bob, special for you, use that crap emoji. It'll work great." And well, it got him 48 retweets and 778 likes. So Bob McKenzie hit it on the head. As a follow-up, on the perils of play-by-play pandemic reporting, where the only constant is change, it has now been suggested to me that while Edmonton is quite likely to host the Stanley Cup final, it can't be called fully locked in at this moment in time. However, my friends, we're talking Toronto versus Edmonton. Toronto, where they're mandating that mask, well, the area. I don't know if Toronto straight up has done it. I didn't get a chance to catch my newscast this afternoon on the drive home, but they're, from everything I gather out east, they're mandating masks everywhere you go in public now. So I'd imagine straight up based on that fact, similar to all the other hub cities being dropped out, Edmonton's hosting the Cup final. All right, let's just settle into that. Let's just not let anyone deviate from that right now and celebrate the fact that the Cup will be in Edmonton when a champion is crowned this year. Mountains of logistical matters on all of this. Site of Cup final will also be the site for the Eastern and Western Conference Finals. Conference Finals are, as Bob McKenzie understands it, my friends, when the players' families will be permitted to enter the bubble for the first time. So you'll have a bubble consisting of just players, staff, media, broadcast, whatever it takes to run a hockey game with no fans. Quite honestly, I don't know. If a tree falls in the forest and nobody sees it, does it really happen? Just straight up, right? I've had a lot of rhetorical questions here, but straight up, that's kind of the question. So I don't know. Do you see all the behind the scenes people on a broadcast? You don't. So how many people it'll actually take to get that job done, I'm not 100% sure, but then they'll be expanding the bubble for the conference finals and the finals. So how cool will that be to see all the players' wives, kids, all that, grandmas, whatever comes along with the crew to Edmonton to go to the mountains for a week or 2 or 3, however long it takes to get to the conference finals, sitting in the stands. So essentially that tweet there by Bob McKenzie, I'd say based on how COVID works, that straight up confirms that we will have fans in the stands, capacity and COVID requirements permitting, of up to how many ever people at that time are allowed to gather in one space based on permits and stuff, on television, in the crowd, during an NHL game. How cool will that be? That will be very, very, very cool. So, I mean, at least the Stanley Cup final will have people there based on what we understand now, but how many? Who knows, right? But ladies and gentlemen, as I've said this whole video, end of day. How good does it feel to know, barring any catastrophic number changes, that we will be playing play-in hockey by the end of this month? Training camps begin July 13th. Second to that, Edmonton is a hub city and Toronto is the other, all Canadian solution to the hub city problem. C, on my list of crazy things that are awesome today, we will see the Stanley Cup lifted in Edmonton. And if you're in my train of thought, if you're in my bubble, if you're in the group here that believes, it will be Connor McDavid taking it from Gary Bettman when this whole crazy 24-team format is said and done, and we'll be taking it home on Rogers Place ice for the first time in building history, for the first time in team history, and for the first time since 1990, the Oilers will be lifting the Stanley Cup. It's been a long 30 years. But ladies and gentlemen, we got the chance to do it right. Let's do it right. I'm Tyson, this is Dolynny TV. Right now you're going to see 4 videos pop up on your screen. I encourage you to click them right now. That'll lead you to some other interesting videos. I'll have why my reasons for winning the Stanley Cup are. They're basic. They're plain. But come on, what more do you need when I list them all there for you? And I'll throw up something from yesterday, probably the extension with the Wichita Thunder, talking the development. Guys, Tyson Dolynny TV up on out of here.